Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dicey Dungeon. Last time I really just lost any interest in even trying to finish this pumpkin spice special puzzle boss battle. Obviously I could bang my head against the wall and have done it myself, but then I quit, basically rage quit, and then looked up the answer. The answer doesn't seem too crazy. There's after googling specifically it, so I do should show it off. There wasn't anything like special in the answer that I hadn't already figured out. It was just the actual process, in that you need a bunch of dice, 6 dice at least, to summon Harvest Slice, and you need the you need to have 1 through 6 when you're done with all of that. So there was a long solution and a short solution. This is the short solution. You do this double dice, do 4 and then 5, then you equip Vice Grip, and you do 1 and 6, then you do Chisel, and you do 2 5s. Then you equip Chisel again, and you insert. It says 2 4s. Did I do something wrong here? Alright, yeah, I did do something wrong. Well, the good news here is if you exit to the title, it just saves it anyway, so the whole opening up the task manager didn't even matter. Like, you can just cheat in the game doing this way, and it frankly stops being really that cheaty. So yeah, 4 and 5 with the double dice, Vice Grip, 1 and 6, and then Chisel, and the 2 5s. Now, you are supposed to, I guess, at this point, repeat that process twice. So, the shorter version here is really just a version around how the wording was more than anything else. And you definitely have to be very careful about how this is all just going to break down, because any slight mistake here will end up with you doing the wrong thing. Alright. one more time with a 5 and a 4. One more time with the vice grip. And this is just a great example of how convoluted this is, and how I would just not really ever figure it out on my own. I would get frustrated and give up, and honestly the game is just not worth the effort to do all of this. Doing all of that gets us to the 12 dice you need. Now it says bring out the chisel and then insert 2 4s. One, 2. Now you have to start dice plus 5 1s and 2 3s. That's enough to harvest all your spells. Now you have the starting dice of all the dice you started with, 1 through 6, and 5 1s and 2 3s. That's enough to harvest all the spells. So your best bet is probably to start by putting a harvest scythe here, a harvest scythe, oops, I might be able to pull this off, but if I screw up one more time I definitely can't. Let's get rid of the 6. We're not going to use that. I think I screwed up here though. Like I don't think there's a way to turn this around, because I needed to use that other 3. And there's just like nothing here that would potentially save the day. If I did a chisel, I could maybe get a vice grip, but then a vice grip wouldn't do anything for me. So the extra 3 was just extra. I got really lucky there. And we win. And that's basically the only solution you could do. At all. Hey, come on, let's get the wheel rolling. Is that really worth it? No. Another discussion on the Steam forum, if it's not going well for you contestants, is it? Is how unfulfilling the wheel spinning is, because it just never lands on a victory. So there's no point in it of ever being a part of the game in the first place. So we unlocked pumpkin spice. I don't think that is even unlocking an achievement at this point. Yeah. So unlocking this character, all it does is give you this character bio. The greatest fear, harvest mice, favorite food. Every couple of months my head starts getting a bit soft, so I carve a new head and then roast the old one with feta, chili flakes, and honey. Delicious. Karaoke, go-to, wannabe, reason for entering the dungeons. It's the only place I could go where people won't constantly pester me about my cool costume. And that doesn't unlock anything new.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. As far as the Halloween special, once you do those 3 episodes, one of which is actually a puzzle episode, there's no new content other than that. That's not much. However, you really didn't need any bonus episodes or content for this game because the main game is just way too long. It would be much better had they spent a year rethinking or kind of remastering the game and how it plays and rebalancing things, doing something that would just drastically change how the game plays. As much as I don't like Darkest Dungeon, because it's a game that is way too long and way too difficult, at the very least, Darkest Dungeon was constantly changing, willing to change the way it played, possibly for the worse, and not the better, but they committed to trying to improve the game instead of just adding more content. It would have been fairly easy for Darkest Dungeon to make a second dungeon, and that's effectively what this game has done, is just made more. I like the idea of puzzles every now and then, but it really should just be like there would have been a puzzle master character who would have had a selection of like 20 puzzles that you had to solve in a regular run. That's about the best way it could go, I think. Anyways, let's do the thief now for the reunion. I'm here for the money. To be clear, it's quite a lot of money. And the real question here on Reunion is there going to be any major change in how it plays? And once again, we have extra dialogue and extra animations that are brand new. Hello there everyone, and welcome to the Dicey Dungeons Reunion Special. Look at all of you, adorable as ever. Just like the first time I met you, and two and a half years, long years ago, before you even entered my inescapable chasm of torment. So obviously this DLC added 2.5 years later. At that point, why bother to add any content at all? It's worth pointing out, like, 6% of players only 6% of players on Steam have beaten Lady Luck. So the reunion content just doesn't make sense. 2.5 years in, you should be working on a Dicey Dungeons 2 with something that probably would do well to be a portable game. I don't know if this game ever was released portably. I mean, it may have been released on the Switch, but I mean like on cell phones. But yeah, a sequel that targeted cell phones would make a lot of sense. More randomization, so you might want to play it non-stop for months on end every now and then. Continuing with the dialogue, just like the very first time I met you 2.5 years ago, before you didn't. Yeah, we already read that. I don't think that's right. First time we met, we were people-shaped. Is that right? I suppose turning into a dice is just something that happens to your bodies as you get older. But whatever your shape, it's great to have you back. I'm sure you all agree. It's actually a bit frightening to be here again, to be honest. But my agent said I had to do it. Gracious, having you come a long way. You have an agent now? It's me, I'm his agent. I've branched out. Well, and what have the rest of you been up to in the last few years? Last we talked, we were all so excited to escape from the dungeons. So, has it been international travel, non-stop partying? I imagine at least one of you has started a band. This would really suck if this is the entirety of the reunion special. It's just this cutscene. I feel like maybe you didn't follow the news much. I guess maybe this was right during the pandemic happened. Which, You know, I have to say, I would have expected a lot more development, indie development, and development in games to happen than actually did happen during COVID-19 lockdowns, the first couple of years of them. There isn't really that much collaboration that happens in programming and game development, particularly if you're a small indie company that only has like 10 people working together in the first place. So working from home for game development should have been something people would have been able to accommodate and adjust to fairly easily. That being said, I think there was something particularly about people who got COVID or people who just went crazy avoiding COVID, that they all went a little crazy and stopped focusing on their own personal goals or their jobs so much. Again, it really does feel like, though, if they're talking about during the COVID 2019 couple years of lockdown, it feels like you would have just been halfway towards a Dicey Dungeons 2 in 2.5 years, if not done with a Dicey Dungeons 2. It would have made a lot of sense for them to sell a second game and try and double their money instead of giving out free DLC. Like, there's enough game here. I don't know if it's particularly good, but there was enough game in the main episodes to justify selling a sequel. It's hard to get papers delivered when you live in a magically cursed, ever-shifting dungeon of fate. Jester darling, is there something I should know? I'd like to remind you, by the terms of the contract negotiated for my return, you're not permitted to question me directly. Please direct all inquiries to my agent. That's also me. Gracious. Well, I may not be allowed to question you, but I can absolutely drop you and your friends into an unrelenting pit of misery. So who's up first? So there's just like a cutscene and then a specific cutscene for each character. My darling thief, it's so nice to see your sneaky little face again. It's profitable to be here. Yes, you drove some hard bargains during negotiations. If I send you down into the dungeons, I hope you're not going to start negotiating on behalf of all my little minions, haha, haha. Just so we're clear, I will definitely do that if they agree to pay me 15%. They're all very happy as it is, actually. I gave them a magnificent set of all new equipment just last week, so morale is at an all-time high. I do hope you enjoyed the novelty and the heightened chance of failure. So yeah, that was like 6 minutes to get to this point. We're starting with Wakizashi, which does damage, and lockpick, and I guess each character is going to just have probably some new items. Sounds like we might have some new music too. So I can steal to keep this card. Which, does that remove it from him? I don't think so. Alright, so you just want to kind of split this in two. Do this. Do this. Do this. In the turn. And the problem here is, even if I accomplish one of the challenges, it wouldn't do anything. Was like, we wouldn't be able to get the 30 poison. And that's certainly another thing that's annoying about this being free DLC instead of a second game, is that you are effectively playing a completely different game that should work towards those achievements. That was slow. You get gold. you get XP. So far it doesn't seem that different. Let's see, when launch, deal 20 damage and reset. Okay. So, do I get another opportunity to steal Nudge? Okay, so the rocket launcher actually doesn't work quite as well as I had hoped it would have. Doing even, didn't do that again. And I guess I could have stolen more equipment just to steal equipment. Let's see. What do we want to do here? Split this in two. Split this in two. Do this. Do this. Do this. That and that. Yeah, unless there was a change in the rules here. Seems like you could just fill your backpack full of items. And that might be a mistake, but it would be about the only mistake I'd be worried about. Let's see. The thing here is you won't fight the same character more than once, so yeah. Double attack damage for the rest of the turn. Okay. Slingshot, I guess, might have been an option. Yeah, unless you could steal cards and yeah, unless you could steal cards and do something, sell them later. Direwolf potion. Alright, let's buy Direwolf potion. Yeah. We have different countdowns on the edge here. Do 2 times the damage, but at 50% chance it backfires. Let's see what turning into Direwolf does. Just gives you 5 damage and a random status on each bite. It may also give you full health refill. So, might have been a value in that. Maybe not. So Slime Pack doesn't actually do any damage, come to look at it. So I'm much better doing something like this. But I do have kind of a nice position where, like, let's see, healing crystals. Should I buy healing crystals? Because I can steal so many pieces of equipment, I could get some countdowns and really make a very interesting crowbar actions. Okay. Do all of that. Yeah, this is not working well. Having a potential full heal is nice, but yeah. We'll steal that. Inflict a poison. Reduce that. Do this. And this. This. Do that. That, and that. And they can't do anything, so I can win next turn. That being said, I am in kind of a bad position health-wise. See, I just don't care about whether or not they have written new dialogue or better dialogue. Right. I'm gonna hold on to Dire Wolf Potion, but I don't think it's worth it. Well, you know what I can do? First of all, cough, but I just need to use it better, wiser. Let's see, even turns, Tidal Blade. I'll take some health here just to be safe. Okay. Cactus Needle do a certain amount of damage and gain 2 thorns if it's odd. So we'll do that. put this here or do 2 damage? Let's do 2 damage. Or Berserk. Berserk doesn't even do the thing I thought it did. Oh man. Yeah, that was dumb on many aspects. Okay. So we could give me 2 thorns, or we could do this. Then you want to do this. And so there I did go to a I did turn into a direwolf. I can curse the enemy, and I can add another random status effect. But I didn't get a full health. So, yeah, I question the real value there. 6 damage to win. Extra dice, extra health. Guess the question would become reduction in cost of that. Let's see. Reduce a random countdown by 5. So doing this with 6 should reduce that. Transform for 1 turn. Or just crowbar plus being upgraded. Other options would be nothing. So crowbar plus is what we'll take. And then lockpick over direwolf potion. Maybe if I had enough dice, direwolf potion would make sense, but at the moment it doesn't. Let's see. Split a dice in 2. Do 1 4 here. A 4 here. A 2 here. And that. I think that works pretty well. Again, it doesn't feel like there's all new content here, which is really what you would want, is that the whole game would have gone much deeper into the direction of all new content. I guess in part that's probably why this wouldn't sell well if this expansion alone was sold as like Dicey Dungeons 2. It's nowhere close to enough content. Again, you have an example of just, hey, let's do some new music, let's do some new art. They're not really creating new characters either. Really are just missing the whole point. Like, keep the capacitor. Split this in 2. Then do this. And I guess you do this. And then do this. And this. And that. Does resistor delay enemy countdowns by a certain number of points? Could be annoying. Do that. Do that. Split that in two. Do that and win. So now it's get rid of that, and at some point maybe there's an argument to get lockpick instead of the cathode ray tube, but I don't know if it's really the best argument. What we really would like to see now is something that has a massive amount of countdown, like 10, 20. Do 2 burn and flinch. Yeah. We'll steal that. And then you do a 6 here. Then I guess you probably want to do a 2 here. And then a 4 there. And that. And then that. But even in that case, when you're fighting somebody that has like 6 items, there's not a high chance you're going to shock 6 times. I'm not sure if I should hold on to Berserk or should just use it now. Oops. That's what I needed to do. And I did some extra damage. So now I'll put that in that spot. And it definitely is just going to come down to other thoughts. Let's do this fight first, then see what trade offers they offer. Yeah, I don't want snowball cannon, so I wouldn't steal that. Five damage and a freeze, or 2 damage and a shock. It's probably better to do that. And then do that. And then do that. See, I guess you just have to do this. And 1 here. And 1 here. Yep. And I just don't care what they have to say, so I'm not even reading it. Let's see what we can upgrade now. Three damage, 1 shock, 3 fire damage, 1 burn. I imagine wildfire and capacitor being upgraded are your first shots, first thoughts. Yeah, that's no deal. It'd be an upgrade. It's probably best to go fight this guy first. And I wouldn't steal that item, but I might steal something else. Should I berserk now? Let's do that. See, invisible crystal and odd. Stealing that card. I don't think I'd want to steal that either. Transform into a bear is an interesting thought. But see, I would lose it. I'm probably just gonna win now. So best case scenario, you would do this, see what that is, see that that's nothing of interest, play this, and just win. Had I gotten the bear option, that would have been interesting. I don't think we're getting high voltage, and I don't think we're getting signal jammer. So, taking the paper knight on is probably not as good as taking on the skeleton knight. Since we're at full health, we should just take on the skeleton. Skeleton, not skeleton knight. Enemy loses the dice for the rest of the turn. Interesting. I will steal that if I can. Should we do 4 here? I guess it probably wouldn't have mattered one way or the other. But maybe it did. Maybe the order affected something there. Alright. I'm gonna steal this card, certainly, but you know, on second thought, probably is somewhat difficult to pull that off. Do that. Because it's going to take up 2 spots, and so I'd have to decide whether I want to get rid of 2 other things. Like, I could get rid of Tidal Blade, fine, and This is Fire is kind of redundant, and causing the enemy to lose dice does have real danger to it. Yeah, there really isn't a single enemy that wouldn't severely suffer by just a reduction of 1 dice. That is, if any of this worked, which is seemingly a big if. Really is just taking longer than it really should. Okay. So get rid of this. Get rid of this. Keep these two. Maybe we could upgrade Roll the Bones so it wouldn't take up that many spots. Okay. That. Then. We could do this and this. We could do this and this. We really didn't even need to play that fancy. We could have just tossed all of that in there. I guess the question here is if we somehow manage to reduce all of their dice down to 0, then what? Like, yeah, I guess that would be the next question, is just, is there a next step to that, or is the next step simply winning? Like, can you get any achievements with this item? And probably not, because it's probably an item that's only available in this like, Reunion DLC. We'll go ahead and take some food. I keep thinking I'm gonna accidentally hit the A button and walk over the trapdoor and miss a fight. Eventually I suspect that would happen. I guess at this point I probably also would see Shifting Storm changes each turn, reusable. Does 3 status effects and inflicts weakening damage. No, we'll steal it no matter what. We'll play it. Then let's see, I guess you probably at that point want to do that. And that was not what I meant to do, but whatever. And do that. Alright, so we'll put a 4 here. Nah, we'll do a 5 here. And win. Full health, max health. See, we're not going to buy any of this. We don't need to buy health. We have 12 gold, which is a massive amount. Alright, roll the bones would free up something. And so that's probably what we want to do. Shifting Storm, on the other hand, would not free up something. So yeah. Take 1 less spot. And then we can burn all dice. Or we could go with Tidal Blade. I think Tidal Blade makes the most sense. This is, though, just about all you can do as far as a decent run. Sure, I might have been able to fill up my backpack to the maximum, which doesn't change anything. I might have gotten up to 15 gold, but that doesn't seem to do anything. There's nothing that really stands out here. We don't have the 99 countdown card, for instance, that Cornelius gives you. I don't even really think that there was a strategy specifically in this run that was pushing me towards the crowbar and the countdown. I just happened to get lucky. And I could, with this ability, the stealing ability, potentially have gone in a very different direction if I had wanted to. If anything, I wish I had the stealing ability for all the other characters so that I could potentially randomize or change or just have more control over the items I can equip anyways, but I don't think it's going to work that way. Yep. And again, just I've lost any interest in reading what they have to say. Alright, so bench presses I might as well just steal. She has 4 dice. If I do a 1 here, and that's the only reusable, then do this, then we do that, and that. Definitely sounds like new music again. And see, double the attack damage for the rest of the turn. It's not likely to do too much extra, but it did enough. And there, we've won. You made it through eventually. Although I suppose you've managed to deprive me of yet more of my hard-earned loot in the process. Come on, you're so rich already. What do you need the money for? Actually, I'm glad you asked. I was thinking it might be nice to buy the moon and paint it with the giant picture of my face. You know, to gaze down to gaze down forever. There's a space there when there shouldn't be. Upon the pitiful earth, and so on. ... I guess I do have to respect that as an aim. So that's just like the whole conversation there. And that's just it. Yep. A little bit of different art. A little bit of a different cards. But equipment wise, you're starting with the exact same equipment the second time around, and the exact same abilities. Alright, well, for the most part, I've abandoned all hope as far as getting all the achievements done on this game. So we have 5 more episodes unless they unlock a new Lady Luck boss battle. You're getting 1 episode in the Reunion DLC for each character, which is, yeah, not that much extra. Again, I really would have hoped that when you had beaten the game, they would have given you something like an infinity dice that would have let you pick any number you wanted to use. Had that shown up fairly frequently or on every roll even, then the game would have gotten super easy at that point for the 6% of people that made it that far. Arguably though, I guess if they were going to do something like that and have a roguelite aspect to this game, which this doesn't have this. This is just a pure rogue like L-I-K-E, not light L-I-G-H-T or L-I-T-E. Being a roguelike, everything just starts over in every playthrough with very little assistance. Well, yep. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.